So in this video, I'll be going over my AFC and NFC Conference Championship spread picks. I'll start with the NFC because it's a little more straightforward, and let's get right into it. I like San Francisco plus 3.5. I just think 3.5 is a lot of points for a game that will be played on what is considered to be a neutral ground. I know LA has the home field advantage, but is that really a home field advantage? We've seen many teams come to play the Rams, many teams come to play the Chargers, and they have more fans than the Rams do. They have more fans than the Chargers do. And it's always been like that, and I expect that it's going to be like that on Sunday. I just think that there's a lot of 49er fans in Los Angeles. The 49ers are the most historic California football team. They've had the most success. And I think that just carries over into this game. I'm not expecting the Rams to have some big home field advantage. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a ton of red on Sunday. And we know that Kyle Shanahan has had McVay's number. The Niners have won the last 6 meetings with them. It doesn't matter if it's Stafford. It doesn't matter if it's Jared Goff. Jimmy Garoppolo just has their number. Kyle Shanahan just has McVay's number. He outcoaches him every single time. It doesn't matter if it's on Monday night earlier this season in San Francisco where the Niners were able to blow out the Rams. And it doesn't matter if it was in LA where the Niners were down 17-0 and were able to come back and defeat the Rams. They defeated them on January 9th, 27-24. That was a crazy game. And I just think that Stafford's due for a bad game. Look, they didn't ask him to do much against the Cardinals. What they asked him to do, he did a great job of it. I just think that Cardinals team wasn't really ready. They were probably one of the worst teams in the entire playoffs. They were sinking at the wrong time. They peaked too early and they were sinking late. They fell off a cliff. And I think he's due for a bad game. He played great against Tampa, but I don't think Tampa really turned it on until the second half. I don't think their defense really came to play until late. They didn't make adjustments until late, and they caught a couple breaks with the fumbles and the turnovers. But Stafford is Stafford, and I think people have short-term memory and they just forget that Stafford really struggled throughout the season. Stafford, he put up big numbers, but he had multiple games where he threw multiple picks. He had a stretch where he was just giving up a pick six every game. So Stafford is due. I don't think that Stafford is this guy who just is just like some superb, elite, like top of the cream of the crop quarterback. I just don't see it. I see that he's due for a mistake, and the Niners have the Rams number. The Niners have beat him twice already this season. And I see a lot of people running with the logic that, hey, it's hard to beat a team 3 times in one season. But, hey, if you get your butt kicked twice by the same guys, I can't just assume that you're going to win the third time just because it's the third time. You got to give me more than that. And they just haven't given me enough to work with where I can say, oh, I'm going to pick the Rams this time over the Niners. Maybe if the Rams were playing somebody else because they're hot right now, I would take the Rams because they did look impressive the first 2 games, and I understand why people want to take them. But hey, the Niners just know how to win ugly. And the Niners have proven that they can maintain when Jimmy Garoppolo is struggling. When Jimmy G's having a bad game, the Niners, the defense, we saw the special teams against the Packers, but the defense and the run game and Shanahan's schemes, they can keep the game within a decent, they can keep it within reach. And Jimmy Garoppolo eventually is going to turn it on and come through in the clutch. I know that sounds funny to hear, but he's been doing it all year. I had a conversation with my uncle who's an avid 49er fan, and I was telling him, Jimmy Garoppolo is best in the 2-minute drill. And once I said it, he went crazy because it's something that he's noticed as well. Jimmy Garoppolo is a guy who, I talked about this a little bit in my Green Bay Packers video. Jimmy G is a guy who he doesn't really think. He plays careless. He plays carefree. And yeah, that can hurt you throughout the game. But in the clutch when, you need to have cool nerves and, just be cool, calm, and collected, that's where he shines because he's one of those guys who's not going to tighten up. He's not one of those guys who's tightening up because they have Trey Lance behind him. He's not one of those guys tightening up because they're taking him in and out of the lineup or, in and out of the QB1 spot. He's not one of those guys who the media talk is getting to him. Jimmy G is just Jimmy G. For better or for worse, he's just Jimmy G. And what I've seen out of Jimmy G is, yeah, he's going to make mistakes, but he makes his mistakes earlier usually. And, he's able to make up for those mistakes late, or Shanahan can scheme for those mistakes late, And I almost like the 49ers when they're playing from behind more than I like them when they have a lead. I feel like when they have a lead, Shanahan gets a little too conservative for me. So yeah, I like Jimmy Garoppolo in this spot because yeah, the Rams have a vaunted pass rush. They have some guys who are really going to get after the quarterback. But San Francisco is going to try to run the ball 40 times. They're going to try their best to run the ball 40 times. They were able to run it 40 times against the Rams on Monday night. Um, and that pass rush is coming, and yeah, Jimmy might make mistakes. Yeah, he might get knocked down more than a few times, but hey, they have a decent old line there. They're going to work the run game, and he got that short term memory where he's going to get right back up and he's gonna attack. He's not going to fall. He's not going to crumble in that pocket and get scared. There's some guys who are just incredible talents in this league, but they fold. They get scared in that pocket. They see ghosts. And Jimmy Garoppolo doesn't see ghosts in the pocket, and I got to commend him for that. So, I just think that 3.5 is a lot for a game that is going to be played in what feels like a neutral ground. And I think in that division, in the NFC West, when you have teams going against each other in that division, you usually it's just better to take the team that's getting points because that division is just too close to be getting free points, This game, to me, should really be like Rams -1 or it should be like Rams -1, like Rams -1.5 or something like that. Like we're getting free points. Like not only are they giving us 3, but they're giving us 3.5. And I just think at this point, what the Niners have shown us, it'd be a little too foolish to go against them. And my last point is this: like if the Rams win this game and we don't cover taking San Francisco, are you really gonna feel that bad about it? Are you really going to feel that bad? You took Shanahan. You took a Niners team that always beats up on the Rams. You took a Niners team that was peaking at the right time, that has their number and is playing gritty, and you took the points. I'm not saying take them on the money line. I'm saying take the points. Like, would you really be mad at yourself if they didn't cover the number? But I just think that I would be mad at myself if I took the Rams and I just ignored all the signs that point to San Francisco. If I just ignored the fact that the Niners just keep getting the Rams, I would be frustrated with myself if I just, forgot all about Stafford's struggles and acted like he's just the best quarterback in the league or something and he's just going to, go crazy against the Niners. I would be upset at myself if I picked the Rams and they didn't cover. Rams money line is one thing. I don't know what the value is on that. But, Rams to cover 3.5, like it has the hook too. I just can't do it, guys. I know a lot of you guys are going to want to take the Rams this weekend, but I've went back and forth with it, but the more that I think about it, I just have to stick with my guns and stick with the fundamentals. And yeah, the play here is San Francisco 49ers plus 3.5. Let's get this money. All right, so for the AFC Conference Championship game, we have the Cincinnati Bengals at the Kansas City Chiefs. The spread is currently sitting at 7, and the total is right at 54.5. Now, this game opened up at 51 for the total and 6.5 for the spread. And I have mixed feelings about this game. I don't think the total or the spread are really going to move by Sunday. I think that we're going to stay at that 54.5 and at that 7. And I just like Kansas City in this spot. I know it's crazy. I know it's a lot of points. I know maybe I'm just caught up in the moment from what Kansas City was able to pull off against the Buffalo Bills. But Kansas City is just having their way offensively right now. And the Cincinnati Bengals offense hasn't looked good the past 2 playoff games, And I just think Kansas City has a pass rush going against that terrible old line that is going to be trying to help out Joe Burrow, but they can't. And I just think that the Kansas City Chiefs defend the run pretty well. I think that they will hold Joe Mixon relatively. And I think that the Kansas City Chiefs, although they have their struggles in the secondary, I think the pass rush can help make up for that a little bit because he's going to be under duress. Now, occasionally they're not going to get to him and he's going to air it out. But I think that they'll do just enough that Patrick Mahomes will be able to make enough plays to cover that spread. I just think that, at 7, I think the Chiefs can manage that. Now, at 7.5, the reason why I have mixed feelings is at 7.5, that's more than a touchdown. I'm not going to tell you guys to go against a playoff team, a good team like Cincinnati, with more than a touchdown. I can't stamp that. I can't fully get behind that. I might still do it. I can't fully get behind that though. But at 7, I like Kansas City. I could see that being a push. I could see Kansas City covering. There's a slight chance the Bengals cover that, but I feel good about Kansas City with the 7. And if it gets to 6.5, I love it because I can see Kansas City winning by a touchdown. Now with that total, now that that total has jumped up to 54.5, I kind of want to take the under because I don't see Kansas City scoring under 30. I think Kansas City, if they don't score 30, they're going to be close to it. And if the Bengals want any chance, they're going to have to shoot out with them a little bit. So, that total is it's going over. If the Bengals are going to compete, it's going to go over. But I could see this being 30-20. I could see this being 30-20. Let me think. 31-20, something in that range. I could see it getting ugly a little bit and being 31-17. I just think Kansas City covers the number, and I think that total is just getting a little too high. If it was at 51, I'd be a little more back and forth about it, but at 54.5, and with the public and everybody just betting it and betting it up to 54.5, I'd go under. So my play here is Kansas City with the -7 and under 54.5. I'm more confident about the cover, the 7, than I am about the total. But if the cover gets to 7.5, then I can't stamp it. If it gets to 7.5, that's a little too much for me. I'll probably still take Kansas City, but that's getting a little too pricey, a little too dicey for me. So yeah, Kansas City -7 and under 54.5 is the play. Let's get this money.